Flash. We got a good show for you this week. We got stuff about Walking Dead. Yes, we're gonna do some updates and then some speculations and see where everything shakes out and what everybody thinks about the series ending that's coming up this fall. So with that, let's get right into it. Um, First, the updates on the the spin-off from what is The Walking Dead. It originally was supposed to be, Daryl and Carol. But since then, Melissa McBride said that she was going to take some time off and to rest, basically. And a lot of the diehard fans out there got on Norman Reedus, thinking that it was his fault. And then Jeffrey Dean Morgan came out to defend Norman Reedus and saying it was ridiculous that some of the fans, were blaming him for it. And it turns out she's just taking a rest. So it's going to start out as a Daryl spinoff after the finale of The Walking Dead. But Norman Reedus came out and said that at some point, Carol will reunite with Daryl to, meet up somewhere along the travels. So, there will be Carol again in the mix at some point. I'm probably assuming season 2 of that show, um, maybe even late season 1. Of course, they haven't even started filming or anything like that, so it's still, the whole storyline is going to be, in question because it depends on where they turn the story, come this fall for the part 3 of the season finale. Um, so a lot of the story is going to dictate who is going to be returning and who is going to be moving on, to other ventures. So there is also said to be a Maggie and Negan spinoff coming. So that would explain, um, you know, Herschel Ree, Maggie and Glenn's son. It will explain Maggie, and it will explain Morgan. I mean Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. With that, you could see some of these other characters moving over to that. So considering that Daryl is supposedly going off on his own mission, that would probably mean that Lydia will probably end up moving into that Negan and Maggie spin-off storyline. I could see that happening because Lydia kind of took to Negan because she understood where he was coming from, being on the outs of the group, and so they understood each other a little more. So she might be heading towards that series. If not, then you know she either gets no story ending or dies, which I'm expecting a lot of the characters to die because it only makes sense because this group would not split up unless there's a reason. So I think that many of the characters will probably die in the finale. Um, so therefore, they won't split up because it doesn't make any sense that when you look at the characters like Daryl, Carol, Maggie, Eugene, Rosita, all those regulars from all these seasons, they would not split up. They would stay together because it has worked for them as a family. And there's no reason why they would do things differently. as far as I can see, with the history of the show, why would they split up, ultimately later? So I'm expecting a lot of the characters to die, which is kind of depressing because, after watching it for 11 seasons, uh, people tend to feel like they are part of their family. so, so it will be tough to see, like it was when we saw, like Glenn get his head bashed in, as well as others dying. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So some of the characters, obviously, I mentioned Rosita and Father Gabriel, who are together, which I never saw that coming. Um, to me, that didn't make any sense, but it is what it is. But they have a child, and um, I don't know. I don't know if they will move on with any of the spin-offs. It doesn't seem like there would be. In fact, I'm kind of expecting one of them to die, and I'm thinking it might be Father Gabriel. So, um, I think Rosita, I can see her kind of walking into the sunset with her child, and that's the last of her you will see. That's what I'm expecting. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Um, it certainly would be. It would be another part of the story that I think would be kind of important. Um, but yeah, so let me know what you think on that. Do you think this will be the end for one of them or both of them? I mean, I don't know if the show will end with Rosita's child dying. That would be horrific. Um, that's why I think, Father Gabriel will die and she will kind of have her ride off into the sunset kind of thing, go alone and just not be with people anymore. And I can see that. Um, another character, Aaron, with Gracie. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I see Aaron and Gracie having a story to end. It could be one of those things where, Aaron hitches on with someone and goes with them. It could very well be, you could very well see Aaron and Daryl going off together with Gracie. And that could that could be part of that because Daryl and Aaron became good friends, and I can see them two just starting over somewhere, you know, because I just don't think that Daryl would let anything happen to a child, and I think that could be a part of the storyline. I just don't see where Aaron fits into anything, and it could be that the assumption is that both Aaron and Gracie die. I can see that. That could happen. Jerry, of course, one part of the kingdom. And of course, Ezekiel. I think it's kind of possible that Ezekiel definitely dies, especially considering he was assuming that he was going to die from cancer, and then he gets this operation, and then all of a sudden he's fine, but then ends up dying anyway. That I could see, and he kind of inspires others to you know battle, to survive, and maybe that's how the group ultimately wins the final battle. before they all go their separate ways. I mean, I can see that. I don't think Jerry will get an ending. To be honest with you, I think he's a good character, a fill-in character. But I'm not so sure that he'll get an ending for it. You also have Mercer and Princess that are together. Um, Now, it's going to be interesting to see where Mercer fits into all of this at the end, because he was part of that um, community, and he sees a lot of things that they were doing, and he didn't like it. And I think Princess kind of keeps him honest, and it'll be interesting to see where he fits in. And again, I don't see Mercer and Princess surviving through all of this. I don't see it. Um, so I mean that's that. So that leaves like Michonne and Rick. Now, okay, first of all, we have Judith and RJ. So Judith, of course, is Rick's, well, I guess not really Rick's daughter, but Rick's daughter, and RJ is Michonne and Rick's daughter. But Rick has been gone since season 9, and Michonne went to look for him. Now, I would think they're going to return for the finale, and I don't know if we'll get answers on where Rick was. I mean, we might know where he was, but we don't know what happened to him through all this time. That might be, said in the trilogy of movies that we're supposed to see on Rick Grimes. I don't know if that's happening or not. We have no idea because we haven't been updated on it in a long time. So, I'm expecting Rick and Michonne to return for the finale. Um, so what happens to those two, RJ and Judith, is going to depend on that. So if Michonne and Rick do not come back, then I would expect them to be with Daryl. To be honest with you, I can't see Daryl, leaving without knowing the safety of Judith and RJ. There's no way that happens. There's no way that happens. Daryl would not do that. And if that's what they ultimately do to end the show, it is wrong because there's no way Daryl would do that. He would only do that if Michonne returned, and then maybe he would go his own way. But there's no way he leaves when the two kids are there without parents. There's no way that happens. It's absolutely would not happen. You know, going by the character of Daryl, he would not let that happen. So that's why I'm thinking Michonne and Rick both come back for the finale and they survive because you got to have the movies. And I think one movie, the first movie will be what happened with Rick, and then 2 and 3 would be what happens after this. So that's the only thing that I can surmise on that storyline. I don't know what you think about that, but there's no way, Rick doesn't come back. He's got to come back, for the finale. I mean, that this makes sense. There's no way that they won't have both of them, so that way the kids don't have an ending. Really, you're gonna kill them? No. So, so that would be what I think of, Rick Grimes, Michonne, Judith, RJ. So Daryl would not go alone without the kids if Michonne and Rick were not there. It's just not going to happen, And I think even if Michonne came back by herself, I still think that he would go where those kids are, unless, of course, Rick was back with Michonne. because then he'd feel that they're a little more safer. So Max Mercer and Eugene. So that is that whole premise of how they ended up there. From Stephanie to and now he ends up with Max, and so I'm not so sure, if they're gonna have an ending story or not. I mean, I think maybe they will remain in the Commonwealth and maybe even possibly running it. You never know. And if they end it like that I could see happening, and then maybe Mercer doesn't die. So, so there's that part of the story. Another interesting part of the story is Connie, Kelly, Magna, Yumiko, and Tommy. Um, and of course, the music teacher, who I cannot think of his name at the moment, but the whole Connie thing to me is intriguing because it is quite possible Connie and Kelly and Magna end up going with Daryl, because we know that there was a connection with Daryl and Connie, and I really hope that they explore that, because I think that would be pretty good for Daryl, you know. And the only thing that spoils that is if Connie dies. But it doesn't make any sense that they would kill her now after her long absence when we all thought that she was dead already. So it doesn't make any sense that they'll kill her. So, um, it's possibility. Another possibility for Daryl is to be attached with Connie and going off maybe with Kelly. Unless something happens to Kelly, which is a possibility as well. So, and I don't know if Magna survives, the final season. She could very well die as well. But Yumiko and Tommy, Yumiko, of course, was with that group when they were found by, you know, our fearless group. Um, she met up with her brother at the Commonwealth, so it is possible that they remain there, and of course, remain as part as that story ending goes. So I don't see them dying. But again, I don't see really an ending to their story so much. I mean, it's possible one of them dies, which would be, somebody's got to grieve while the other one moves on, kind of thing. I don't think they would both die. So there's a lot of storylines that could end up being part of a greater thing. But we know Daryl is going to have his own spin-off. Now, whether he is joined by Connie or Aaron or Judith and RJ, I think they're all possibilities. But eventually Carol will be there, but she will not be there at the beginning, and that is pretty incredible, because when you think about it, that's what they wanted to do. And I don't know. I can't, like, I know they're best friends and stuff, but I don't know if that's the best thing for it. I personally like the Connie edition more than anything. I just think that makes sense. Connie and Kelly going with Daryl makes sense to me. So, or Lydia, because he said he was going to look after her and make sure that she survives. So, you know, does he end up bringing Lydia with him? So, and that is also a possibility. You know, I don't think that they will kill off Lydia because of everything she went through, and just the story is just too agonizing to think that they're going to do that, because somebody that goes through all of that, they just might let them survive just with all these losses, and that makes sense. So there's a lot of storylines for the Walking Dead. um I don't know ultimately what will happen. I know that a lot of great shows tend to have lousy finales, and I hope that isn't the case with this one. I mean, we want to see a good ending. We know we're going to get Maggie and Negan, and we're assuming Herschel in a spin-off, and we know we're going to get Daryl in a spin-off, and eventually will be Carol adding to it. So we know they will not be dying. Now, all the other characters are all on the table for a horrific ending. But like I said, I don't think Judith and RJ will die. And if they're not going to be with Daryl, then I'm assuming they're going to be with Rick and Michonne. And I think that is a high probability that they will be on there and return, and then they will all be in the movies, that end up coming out. Maybe not the first one for RJ, Michonne, and Judith. I think the first one might be what happens to Rick Grimes while he's been gone. So, so again, there's a lot to speculate. I can't wait for the series finale. Part 3 of the final season, which comes up in fall, and I'm guessing it's going to end in December. So you might have maybe 8 to 12 episodes, remaining of this series. I'm gonna say about 10 makes sense. So, um, so yeah, so look for it the end of September, November, December, and it'll probably end before Christmas. Um, so yeah, so 8 to 12 episodes. I think it's going to be 8 to 10, to be honest with you. And we'll see what happens. But again, you're watching Entertainment Flash. Um, it is everything that we discussed. You might see a lot of the stuff on havenshine.net. You can find movie reviews, you can find music, you can find all kinds of stuff on there. So get on to havenshine.net, um, and you can find us also on Facebook at Havenshine. And I'm glad that you came to watch. Uh, Again, throw bits, throw some subscribes, and the whole bit. Get on there, follow us. Follow us at Rhode Island Broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube. You can find us on um, Broadcasting RI on Twitter, and of course on twitch.tv/RI underscore broadcasting, where you find all of the Rhode Island Broadcasting shows, gaming, and more. So follow, like, subscribe, share, do a whole bit. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time on Entertainment Flash.